Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je suis d'accord avec mes collègues verts qu'il faut appuyer la motion présentée par le chef du Parti vert et mettre le projet de loi 23 dans la poubelle. Parce que, Monsieur le Président, c'est pas bon pour la province du Nouveau-Brunswick. C'est pas bon pour les travailleurs et travailleuses de la province et c'est honnêtement un recul pour les travailleurs et travailleuses syndiqués aux provinces. Il faut arrêter d'attaquer les droits des travailleurs et travailleuses. Et on voit les attaques sur des autres types de droits aussi, Monsieur le Président. What we know is that there was zero consultation. Union leaders have spoken out publicly and talked about how this legislation will tip the balance of power in favor of the employer. That's according to Paula Doucette. And Mr. Speaker, this attack on workers' rights, this weakening of workers' rights in the province is unacceptable. And unfortunately, that's been the trend with this government. But Mr. Speaker, it has to stop. And it's treating workers like the enemy. They don't want to go on strike, but they need to stand up for their rights, especially when there's this hostility towards workers. We know, Mr. Speaker, that this will worsen labor relations. This will worsen the situation. Leaders are saying this will lead to more strikes. This will ruin binding arbitration. And this will allow scabs, Mr. Speaker, scab workers, which undermines the right to strike, which undermines what workers have fought so hard for their rights. And I know that the Minister for Petal said, oh no, that's not what we're talking about. But the words in the legislation are basically the definition for scab workers that you find in the dictionary. So I don't know. Help me understand, Mr. Speaker, because it really doesn't make sense. But we know Stephen Dross from CUPE talked about how this is unprovoked, unnecessary, and overreach, Mr. Speaker. That this, and where is this coming from, Mr. Speaker? This wasn't asked for. There wasn't consultation. This is in fact going to make things worse and weaken what should be a fair process when it comes to negotiations, when it comes to whether there's a strike or not. This is unacceptable. We also know that, according to Daniel Legier, the New Brunswick Federation of Labour, that, and to quote, he said, rather than fix this problem, the proposed changes to labour relations in the province will have the opposite effect. Now, Mr. Speaker, why would we let this go through? Why? And Mr. Speaker, to echo the comments of my colleague from Kent North, can we put partisanship aside? Can we all act as members of the Legislative Assembly and really consider, is this the type of legislation we want to put through? Is this really what we want to pass through? No, Mr. Speaker. Let's stop this and go to the negotiating table. Go to the table with union leaders. If there's worries about something, go talk to them rather than bring in this unnecessary and damaging legislation, Mr. Speaker. This is unacceptable. And so, I do want to remind all of the members in this House, on both sides, that you can choose how to vote on this. You can vote for more lockouts. You can vote for ruining binding arbitration and more strikes. You can vote to allow scabs. You can vote to worsen labour relations in the province. You can do that, but you don't have to. You could vote for this amendment. You could vote to kill this bill and then urge the government to talk to union leaders and to figure something else out, because, Mr. Speaker, this is unacceptable. I don't know if anyone will have heard what I just said, but I sure hope so. Because this is not going to address the problems that exist. It's going to create new ones. So we're trying to stop this here. But I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of faith that people are going to stand up for what's right here and vote to stop this bill. But Mr. Speaker, I sure hope so. I sure hope that they will not vote to worsen labour relations, that they will not vote for this terrible legislation. And so, Mr. Speaker, I guess we're going to find out. Thank you.